Okay, guys, good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Good
Wel-
morning, mister.
Good
Welcome
morning.
again.
Morning.
Welcome again to another day of classes, right? So we have to be with with the best energy, right? So we must wake up, everybody. Okay. So before to start, I'm gonna ask everybody to stand up. Everybody, stand up, everybody. Okay, now jump 3 times, please. Jump 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now sit down. Sit down now. So I think that now you are awake. You are awake, right? So let's start then with the class, and I'm gonna ask to Miguel Alejandro, please, to pray today for us. So everybody put your head down, your hands together, and close your eyes. And let's listen to Miguel Alejandro. Yes? Close your eyes.
Thank you. Thank you, God, for this day, for the food, for the friends and the family, and eliminate the coronavirus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So today, guys, in we will be talking about an important topic that happened in our nation, right? But first of all, I need you to remember which was the last topic that we were discussing, or which are the topics
Atmosphere.
that we have been talking
Lithosphere.
about. We will be talking about atmosphere, right? And also we will be talking about the
Hydrosphere.
air
Hydro-
spheres, right? And which one we
Hydrosphere.
have? Which one we have? Can you mention one, please, Khaled? Khaled, could you please mention one air sphere?
Mister, the last topic was what are the spheres of Earth?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. And I'm asking to Khaled, please mention one of these layers that we have in Earth. We have how many different we have? We have four, right?
Yeah.
And in these four, we have different things, right? That at the
Yeah.
end all together form, right? Our Earth, our Earth, right? So, Khaled, could you please mention one of these four we have?
Biosphere.
Biosphere, good job. And what can we find in the biosphere, Andrea Monserrat? What can we find in the biosphere?
I know, mister.
Huh? Okay, you don't know, Andrea?
I know, mister.
Okay, Miguel Ávila, what can we find in the biosphere? Miguel Ávila?
We can find living things.
Living things. Good job, good job. And which other we have?
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere, right? And what can we find in the atmosphere?
Oxygen.
Yes, of course.
Nitrogen.
All the gases we have on Earth. And which one other we have? Which other we have? I'm missing two, guys.
Gas. Hydrosphere.
Carbon dioxide. Mister,
Hydrosphere
lithosphere.
and
Hydrosphere and
okay, and
lithosphere.
what can we
Hydrosphere.
find in these two that are missing? Miguel Alejandro and Carlos, could you please turn on your camera? And what can we find in these two that are missing? What can we find? Hurry up, tell me. Nadie? Vamos a ver, let's see, Andrea Larissa, please.
In hydrosphere can we find water?
Wow, all the body of water we have. And the other one, little bit.
Um, yes.
Do you
Soil.
remember? All the rock we have, right? Do you remember?
The
Okay, now,
lithosphere contains rocks, soils, and minerals.
yes, of course. So, I'm going to show you today, right? First, I'm going to explain you what we have to do, right? And then we're going to work with the book, right? But you have to take notes. Yes? I'm going to show you, first of all, a presentation we have here with today's topic, right? I don't know if
Mister,
you,
the topic of today is what are erosion and deposition?
yes, of course. What are erosion and deposition? Do you have an idea what is an erosion and deposition?
Erosion is something that has the volcano that
Sorry?
if it is when the volcanoes
When
Okay,
the volcano erupts,
erupt.
okay.
he do erosion.
I think that you are making the relation with the volcanoes, right? But this topic has a little way different, right? Why? Because when we're talking about erosion, we're talking about a process, right? Or something that happens with body waters, air, and also uh, ice, right? So, and when we're talking about deposition, right? We're talking that these things, right? Uh, all the particles that have uh, stop in one place, in a different place, right? So, in order you to have a better idea, right? Uh, let's read a little bit and let's pay attention, right? And then, what is erosion? Could you please, Angela, read this part? Angela, your microphone.
Yes, mister. The moving of materials from a place carried there is horizon. The
Okay,
gravity
stop
is
there, stop there. So, the movements of material from a place called erosion, right? So, we're talking about the movement, right? This process we will talk the movement, right? Of materials. Okay, continue reading.
okay, mister. The gravity is the main force causing erosion. In a landslide, gravity quickly pulls rocks and soil down.
Okay, so what happened here, guys? When we're talking about erosion, we're talking about that this process move, like for example, I'm gonna give you a clear example of this in a river, right? Or in a body water, right? What happened with the river? The river or the water moves rocks and what else? And what else?
And soil,
And
downhill.
soil, right? And you know that these stop in a different place, right? That then we this is start, right? And then how we call this process? Erosion, right?
Erosion.
Okay, do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
So now let's see. Let's listen to Baden. Please listen,
Mister,
Baden.
deposition is the process of laying down materials such as rock and solid.
Yeah.
These sediments can be deposited in different places by rain or following or flowing water.
Okay, and what is the other part of this process to complete this process is the deposition. Like for example, let's imagine that we're rocks. Let's imagine that we are rocks, right? And then start the process that is called, which one is the first part of this process? Erosion.
Erosion.
So your
Erosion.
water will move, right? Will move us to a different place, right? And what is depositation? Depositation is the place when we stop, right? Let's imagine that we start here in Tegucigalpa and then you finish in Choluteca, like for example, right? That is the process of erosion and depositation, right? And also this can happen with water, right? Body waters that we can have rivers and seas, right? And through the wind, right? Right? So now guys, I'm gonna show you a video, right? In order you to have a better idea about what we're talking about. Yes? So let's pay attention because I'm watching you, right? Let's pay attention.
Mister, we take notes.
Yes, it is important that you may take notes about what we're discussing, right? Okay, here we have, okay, let's pay attention to the video, right? I'm sorry.
I can see, mister, the video.
No, wait. Okay, pay attention and tell me if you can listen. You listen, guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 So let's pay
It's
attention.
hard.
Let's pay attention.
Mister, lo escuchamos demasiado.
Weathering is the process that breaks down rocks. There are two types: physical, when rock is physically broken into smaller pieces, and chemical, when rock is broken down by chemical changes. Erosion is when bits of broken rock are carried away by wind, water, ice, or gravity, and deposition is when the agents of erosion deposit or lay down sediment. To start off, this is an example of physical weathering. Although I did not directly observe it, I can infer that this hole was dug by a small animal. As it dug, it loosened and broke rocks in the soil, which can make it easier to erode away. Next up is this large crack in the sidewalk. I believe this was caused when the dirt underneath it was eroded away by rain and wind, which were especially strong being right next to the water. When people walked on it, it put lots of pressure on the rock, which the now absent dirt could not sustain, causing it to crack. As a clear example of chemical weathering, I chose this particularly rusty supporting beam from a dock. Because this beam had iron in its screws and it was exposed to plenty of air and salty water, oxidation occurred, forming the red streaks of rust you see running down its sides. This is an obvious example of erosion. As you can see, the waves have eroded the land away over time, leaving a large gap between the natural position and the eroded position of the land. In fact, the ground eroded so much that this bench used to be here, but the base collapsed because the entire ground underneath it had been eroded away. This is another example of water erosion. Over time, rain and other water collected on the edges of the road due to its shape and repeatedly hit the asphalt, wearing it down. Because of this, the ground was weakened and unable to support this tile, which cracked under pressure. Lastly, here are two examples of deposition. Here, you can see the multiple tide lines from throughout the day where the waves deposited sediment, shells, sand, and leaves onto the beach. Last but not least, here some small seeds were deposited in the corner of this dock. They'd probably fallen from a tree nearby and been picked up by the wind. When it slowed, it dropped them.
Okay. Did you pay attention to the video, guys? Yes. Now
Yes.
do you have
Yes.
now do you have now a better
Yes.
idea what we're talking about?
Yes.
So this process, as simple as that, is all the material that move along with the water or with the wind. Yes? So let's continue then with the presentation, right? Let's continue then with the presentation. Yes. So we'll stop. Let's see.
In deposition.
Yes. Yes, of course. Let's continue then, right? Presenting that topic. So, here we have erosion and deposition, right? And we have,
Mister, I want to read.
okay, but first, let me explain just a little bit. So, and we have a question, and this question is really, really interesting. Could you please, Glenn, read the question?
Why don't rivers travel in straight lines?
Okay, why don't rivers travel in straight lines? Have you ever wondered that? Have you ever wondered that? That the river,
Mister, article
right,
4.
they are like curly, right? With a lot of,
Yes.
yes. So here we have this answers. So Glynis, continue reading.
They had to avoid obstacles as they flow downhill.
Okay, so that's why we have the first picture here. They have to avoid obstacles, right? We have a big rock here in this picture. Can you see the picture?
Yes.
So the water looks for the better way, right? To move. Yes? Now,
Okay.
continue reading, Glynis.
People have altered
Altered.
altered river courses over time.
Okay, what happened with people? People always people is making hand, right, on nature, right? And what happened with this? Why we say this? Because they can move or the courses of the river uh, according to their benefits, right? Probably they need to plan, right? That's why they alter the river courses. Yes? So let's continue then. And we have,
Erosion.
okay, continue, Linus.
No.
Continue.
And Mister,
Continue
you
reading, Linus.
if you throw a bottle of water, the water gonna move for everywhere.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Mister, but when have an obstacle, crash with the obstacle, but then the water around them.
Yes, of course. Well, when we have floats, right? Probably, like for example, we have this big rock, right? And what happened? It rains a lot, yes, and then we have a flood with this river. So the water will move, right? This big amount of soil, right, or rock. Yes. Do you understand that part?
Yes.
So continue reading, please. Erosion.
Erosion and the position can change the shape of a river.
Yes, of course. So, and then at the end, we have,
What
and
what do you think?
why do you think that erosion and deposition can change the shape of a river? Why this can change? Because remember that with this process, we have the water, like for example, is moving rocks, right? And a lot of material, right? And these tend to be changed, right? Okay, so the last question. Dennis, could you please read the last question we have?
What do you think erosion and deposition are?
Okay, what do you think erosion and deposition are? So we already discussed this question, right? Can someone tell me what the erosion and deposition are? ¿Qué son? Vamos a ver qué son. What are they? Okay, let's call these two a process, right? Okay, let's continue then. And then I'm going to ask to Andrea Monserrat, please. Sorry.
Yes, mister.
Okay, could you please read this?
Okay. As meanders grow, sometimes the water
Oh,
can erode.
you have to read the topic first. Not the title.
Oxbow lakes.
Okay.
As meanders grow, sometimes the water can erode away so much of the rivers.
bank and two meanders will merge together.
Okay, continue.
When this happens, the water will take this newer, shorter route and not travel around the previous course.
Okay,
Over time, the position of the rivers load with block of the old part of the river and an oxbow lake will form.
okay. Well, we're talking about oxbow, right? Lakes. Actually, we're talking about where or how the water, right, takes a newer, right, route and not travel around the previous one, right? And is looking for a new way, right? So here we have a video. Here we have a video and how we can watch it. Yes, let's wait. In order you to have a better idea, right, about this process. I think that is this one. Okay, so let's pay attention to this video. This is the location. Wait, what happened? Okay, I don't know what happened, but it doesn't work. But now, right here we have an idea about what happened here, right? That as I told you, the water will take a newer, shorter, right? Road. Yes, va a buscar el agua, ¿verdad? Un camino más corto, ¿verdad? Y nuevo, right? To travel around that previous course. Then we have a picture here, right? Yes, as you can observe in the picture. Yes, let's continue then. Here we have a map, right? About this process. Gabriela, are you paying attention? Would you please what we have? Could you please read what we have here?
Oxbow Lakes. The map and aerial photograph show the same part of the river trend.
Yes.
Can you see the Oxbow Lake?
Now,
As the river.
Let's identify where we have the river here in the map. Which one do you think is the river? This one, right?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
This one, right? Is this one we have here? Yes? So, now we have a question. Can you see the oddball lake here? Could you identify this process or not? Could you please?
Sorry, Mr. My internet fall down.
Yes, no worries, just pay attention. Now, I have a question. Come on, guys. Wake up and tell me, do you notice this process of oddballs here? No? No, right? And that's why we have this answer here. As the river no longer supplies the lake, right? With water, it is not shown on the map, right? It is not shown on the map because here we have the lake, right? And here we have the river. And if you notice, they are not together, yes? And this happens when we have this together, yes? So,
Mister, but what is that? What are the three parts of?
sorry, Maiden, what are you talking about?
At the top of
At the top?
up, blue, a little blue
That's,
are lake or not?
yes, it is a lake. Yeah, that's a lake.
Okay.
Okay, let's continue then. And then we have how rivers change, right? Shape. And this is a little exercise, but we don't have too much time, right?
I can read, Mister.
Okay, this is an activity. This is an activity, but we have just 3 more minutes. So we are going to continue because we have similar activities in our book. Yes. So okay, and then we have waterfall. You know what is a waterfall? Yes or not?
When the water
Cascada.
Yes, of course. So we have here, could you please, Gabriela, tell me? Could you please read what we have here?
waterfalls. What could happen to the shape of this waterfall over time?
Okay, here we have a question. What would happen to the shape of this waterfall over the time? What do you think this could happen, or what can happen here?
Mister, how do you say cascada?
Waterfall.
That the waterfall, when the rivers, it comes the water like this, the waterfall is falling down the water.
What? What are you talking about, Benen? I do not understand.
About the rivers and the
The
waterfalls.
question is that what
Mister,
happens
the water
to the shape?
will eliminate this wall
Okay,
among
good
the
job.
time.
Good job, Gustavo. So here we can observe that we have a river, right? We have a river here, and we have a hard rock here, and then we have soft rock, and then we have another type of soil here. But if you can notice here, this little, right, little dots, what would happen here? Overhang collapse, right, with the water. And what happens when this rock, this piece of rock, it moves with the water.
Water.
And also here we have that probably the sun becomes in sand. This piece of
Yes.
becomes in sand and also travels with water to another place. Yes, and then we can observe here's another rocks, right, that are moving along with the river, right? Do you understand, guys? Yes. Okay, so do you have questions so far? Okay, so we finished with the first hour, and then now we are gonna work with the book. Yes, we're gonna work with the book. So please get ready with your book, everybody, because we have to answer some exercises.
What page, Mister?